What is up, you guys? Diggerdan here, coming at you with another video. This time, I'm doing a book review on none other than Ender's Game. Obviously, if you clicked on the video, you know. But if you're surprised somehow, this is what we're doing today. I just want to give a little overview. I have always wanted to read Ender's Game. I didn't read it in like middle school, high school, when that was like the target audience and kind of popularized. I know some people I think it was like mandatory reading for some people growing up, but people actually enjoyed it. Awesome sci-fi setting that people enjoy. So I've always wanted to read it and just never got around to it. And then actually a few months ago, I ended up getting Speaker for the Dead at a secondhand store or thrift store or garage sale. I can't remember, but I got it secondhand for like less than $1, kind of similar to Relic on my last review. If you haven't watched that, go click on that one. So yeah, I had this one, but not the first one. I know, and I actually had this as a haul on my TikTok. If you guys want to go see that, it should be linked in the description down below. And my Aunt Teresa saw this, saw that I had this one, but not the first one. So she was awesome enough to order this for me. And I think for Christmas or my birthday, which is in December, so kind of around the same time of last year. And I finally read this, I think a month ago maybe, and I'm finally now getting around to doing a review on it. So, Ender's Game. If you don't know what it's about, it follows the protagonist, the main character, Andrew Ender Wiggin, but he goes by Ender, and he's just a super smart guy or kid, basically fast-tracked in their commander school or space. It's basically like West Point, but for space. And it's set in the not so far future. I forget what year it's set, but it is in the future when we've contacted aliens, or rather aliens have contacted us on Earth, and they weren't so friendly the first time, and they tried to invade, and we barely repelled them off. And this is a number of years after that, preparing for the next invasion. And yeah, so it follows Ender, very young. That's something I did not realize, is how young the characters in this book are. I think when we first meet Ender, he's like 6, and it's crazy. He's talking about trigonometry and calculus, and it's just like, oh my goodness. When I was in high school, when I was 18, I barely understood calculus. So yeah, just super smart guy. And then when he finally is in space school and he is interacting with people around his age or a little older, and they're all very intelligent as well, if not just as intelligent. Yeah, and so that's kind of what that's about, and just follows Ender's journey through space school, and kind of follows the politics going on Earth, and then also kind of politics surrounding the impending potential invasion that they think is going to be a second wave that might wipe them out for real this time. And yeah, so without further ado, let's dig into it. So overall, I did really enjoy Ender's Game. My official rating is 8.24 overall. And for those who don't know or didn't watch my last video, I just rip off my rating system from Two to Ramble, from Austin and Richard. Those guys are fun to watch, and they're intelligent, and I really like their rating system. So for those who don't know what it is, it's 5 categories: emotional impact, characters, plot, dialogue, and world building. You rate all of those out of 10, so for a total points of 50, and then you divide that by 5 to get your average between that, and that's how I came up with 8.24. And then I'll break down, once we get into spoilers, I'll break down each category and how that scored. But yeah, overall 8.24. So I definitely really enjoyed this. 8.24 out of 10. That's 82.4% out of 100. That's pretty good in my opinion. Yeah, I did really enjoy this. Like I said, I'm a little disappointed it took me so long to actually read Ender's Game. But here, sitting at 25 years old, I'm confident, and I'm glad I'm confident I finally read it. And yeah, so if you don't want spoilers, click off now. And if you do, let's dig into it and let's keep rolling along. So for emotional impact, I put that as a 7.9. So basically, that's just how did I connect with the novel, or did like the funny parts make me laugh? Did the sad parts make me cry, or really connect with me? Things like that. And I feel like I connected with the book on a lot of levels. Especially like something that really got me was just how young a lot of the characters are, and just how violent it can be. Like one of the opening sequences, when with Ender, he literally beats up his bully and like makes him bleed, and he's just unconscious on the ground. And towards the end of the book, we find out he actually killed that kid, and that was a mind blow, mind F, if you will. But even not knowing that he killed him, but just knowing that he beat him to a pulp, to protect himself, to protect Ender, that was like, it was kind of gut wrenching that he had to do that, but also it was kind of like, hell yeah, Ender, you do it, man. You were happy for Ender that he could do that, but also like Ender having to fight with himself and like trying to justify it, or like being guilty about that even a couple hundred pages later. Like it's a little gut wrenching, but like it hit well. But there were some times where it didn't hit well. I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but I know there were some where it's just like, whatever. I know, again, push plot along, important moments, but didn't necessarily connect that well. But some of the things that connected really well, aside from that first sequence when he beats up his bully, is just Ender when he's in battle school. I forget the first school he's in, not the commander one, but the first one. And he's put on a team where he's the youngest, and he is just not dominates yet, but he just has to prove himself, and his commander continuously doubts him, and he listens to orders. And the one time when he didn't listen to orders, and then they ended up winning because of it, that was a really good moment for Ender, I think, and his commander didn't like him because of that, but he still won. And then Ender was like on top of the scoreboard because he wasn't officially out, because he like zapped his legs, but he wasn't like a casualty. But then I don't know, that whole sequence, that was really good. Like, it was just like, hell yeah, Ender, you got it. And then just later towards the end of the battle school, before he gets pulled, and he just is tearing the other teams apart. But it was good because he would push his guys really hard. And then the other teams would kind of pull from his tactics. So it was kind of like high water raises all ships type thing. So with Ender excelling, other people were just much more competitive as well. So yeah, it just was good. The whole battle school sequence was just so nice. I think it was just almost refreshing, I guess. Because I'm still struggling in catching up in a lot of like modern reading. I've only recently got into reading again in fantasy and sci-fi a couple years ago. So I have a lot of catching up to do, but like this whole, because I know like Red Rising, for example, I read that and I loved that. And that was part of the reason I wanted to read Ender's Game, because a lot of people actually compared it to Hunger Games and Ender's Game. And I'm like, okay, I did read Hunger Games growing up in middle school, high school, and I remember it being really good. Watched the movies. It was awesome. And then reading Red Rising, I'm like, okay, I see the Hunger Games part for sure, but then I'm like, okay, where's this Ender Game element coming from? So I finally read it, and I'm happy. So basically saying I'm catching up on a lot of stuff. So this might be refreshing for me. For some of you who have read much more sci-fi, kind of rolling your eyes like, what do you mean refreshing? This is some basic sci-fi, but I found it really, really good, and it makes me excited to read more. But anyway, long rant, emotional impact, 7.9. Next, into characters, 8.55. Again, it is a little higher than emotional impact, because just a lot of the characters and like friends that Ender interacts with is just so good. Like his villains or enemies you really do not like, but again, they're written to be like that. And just when Ender beats them in like a very methodical way, like he's got to think outside of the box, and like even when the teachers or the commanders changed the rules in against Ender's favor. And like at one sequence, there was 2 teams against his 1 team, and he still ended up winning. It was just good. And a lot of the characters like in that, because of things like that, either loved Ender or hated him, or at least just respected him. And that was good. But I know Pete like Bean. He's like one of the only other people I remember off the top of my head, like name wise. He was on Ender's one of his squads where Ender was commanding, and he was really funny. And he again was thinking outside of the box, and he would actually push back on Ender, make Ender grow as a commander as well and a leader, and not just like a fellow or not just like a fellow soldier, I guess is the word. But yeah, character, like he made a lot of good connections with a lot of them, but then it also was a little heart-wrenching too, where he realized he's on a different level, and he has to be on a different level because he's a leader and he's their commander, and he's not their friend anymore. Especially towards the end of the book, he was kind of realizing that, or at least kept reiterating that, because I think maybe halfway through he mentioned that or was thinking that, and then you just see it play out again. And that was kind of difficult to read, or at least like just pulls with the heartstrings a little bit. So yeah, characters 8.55. Next is plot. This I rated the lowest at 9.8, or excuse me, wow, 9. That's the lowest. No, not 9.8. Plot I rated the lowest at 7.8. I don't know where the 9 came from. But again, it's not bad. Like I keep saying, I did enjoy the book, so the plot itself has to be at least half decent, right? But really where it fumbled for me was like the last 50 pages with the reveal that, well, even maybe last 75, where it like jumps like 20 years or 15 years or whatever, when Ender and his sister, again, I forget her name, like colonizes one of the alien, I don't know if it was a planet because they destroyed the planet, one of their outposts or something, one of their colonies, and then it's revealed that one of the queen's eggs is there, and it's like left for Ender. That for me kind of played out a little funnily. I mean, again, it keeps me intrigued enough to want to read the next books, Speaker for the Dead. But I don't know. I just thought it was not cheesy, but I don't know. It just fell a little flat for me. I don't really know how it could be different. Maybe if it ended with maybe not the jump cut of number of years, but with him agreeing to go with his sister to colonize a new place, and then that's revealed in the next book. Cool. And big time jump. I don't know. I don't like massive time jumps where I feel like I'm missing out, and I don't know what happens in the next book, so maybe it might go back in time again, going through. I don't know, but that's just how I feel at reading the end of Ender's Game and knowing that there is a next book, So I'm kind of mixed on that, but that's maybe why it's a little lower than it could have been, even though overall with the whole battle school sequence, I really like that, like I said. A plot point that blew my mind and was maybe a little spoiled because I think I've seen bits and pieces of the movie throughout the years without trying to. But like when, I kind of already mentioned it, but when Ender in the last simulation like defeats goes for it, destroys the planet just for the win, he has to, or else he'll lose, and he refuses to lose. And then it's revealed that he actually destroyed the alien planet, and the simulations for the past few months haven't actually been simulations, but him commanding actual human pilots in their own ships, taking out the aliens, and that was boof. That was crazy. That was a kind of cool reveal, and again, high emotional impact because it was big gut check, especially for Ender. He kind of went into depressive episodes after that. He was like, I can't believe I did that. Like, how many things did I kill? And then they were trying to rationalize with him, well, you really only kind of killed the queens because the rest were kind of just hive mind of them, so like kind of that whole play thing. Again, aliens, sci-fi, crazy. But yeah, overall, solid plot. Next, going into dialogue, this is an 8.2. It was very descriptive, but it was still easy to understand. I think I prefer more description than not. But maybe not so much where you kind of lose yourself or like feel yourself lose interest, if that makes sense. Kind of like get bored halfway through reading the thing. But also I know target audience is kind of younger people, but it still doesn't like dumb its conversations or dumb its prose or its words it uses down for smaller brains or for younger an audience. It's still like an intelligent book, and you kind of feel smarter reading it. Yeah, so for those reasons, it's an 8.2. And then finally, world building. I feel like this was its strongest element the book had at an 8.75. Again, it's with fantasy and sci-fi, especially when it's otherworldly, like you go outside of Earth, I think it's a little easier to have good world building because you kind of, especially in sci-fi, where you have the structure of the world, we already live in it, we kind of know what that's all about, but also explaining how it's different, like people like Ender and his siblings were like genetically modified to be better, like more intelligent, and kind of almost bred to be these military commanders, and like just how that politics works, and just how like the research has been like new technologies, what's that brought, like you can actually travel space, that cool thing, but also exploring kind of the alien species too, and how it is a hive mind, and how it's really maybe just 4 or 5 queens, if even that many, 3 or 4 maybe, that are controlling all of this. Just kind of crazy to think about. I really enjoyed it. And then again, just like the whole battle school sequence too, kind of the culture for the students or the little soldiers around that, and just again the politics on the actual like principal commander side. It just was good. I really enjoyed the world building. That was, again, it was my favorite aspect. If it was the thing I rated highest, right? And that's something I'm really looking forward to in the next book, especially if it does go into the colonization that Ender and his sister get into, because I could see that being really cool. But yeah, that's Ender's Game. What did you guys think? Did you guys enjoy Ender's Game? Did you not like it? Did you like the movie more than the book somehow? Crazy if you did. I have yet, like I said, I sort of watched bits and pieces, but I haven't actually watched the movie. So maybe I'll do that at some point now that I read the book. But yeah, 8.24. Did you guys rate it higher than that? Lower than that? 5 out of 5? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys want to see more from me, Diggerdan, please hit that subscribe button as well as that bell notification icon so you guys know when I upload each and every single time. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.